Hello everybody, and in today's video I'm going to be doing the last video for the Spider-Man 2 criticisms. So we're just going to hop right into it. There's going to be like double what's in an ordinary episode, so yeah, let's get into it. So the first criticism for this video is about the Flame, who, if you don't know by now, is supposed to be Cletus Cassidy basically. And my biggest problem with his character is that he doesn't kill a single person in this game. It's kind of weird that he wouldn't kill a single person in this game, considering that he is literally supposed to be the Carnage Killer. I'm not saying this like that's his nickname in this thing, but like, come on. Usually he goes by the Carnage Killer. And I mean, Yuri was talking up a big game about, you know, finding his bodies and shit and like how many people he killed. Where was that guy? Where was that guy during this? That man should have been killing people left and right for no fucking reason. That's the Cletus Cassidy I know. I mean, that's the same dude who fucking ate a baby in the comics when he was with the symbiote, obviously. When he was with the symbiote, obviously. Although I wouldn't be surprised if he did that without it. But like, where is that guy? He's supposed to be honestly probably the most violent. No, not probably. He is supposed to be the most violent and dangerous Spider-Man villain ordinarily. But like where is that? Like, where is that? Why is he not killing people? Which just goes back to this game not having enough deaths in the game, if I'm being honest. Like, you can tell. Like honestly, he should have killed people for sure. But that's okay. Alright, the next criticism I have is connected to the Cletus Cassidy one I was just talking about, but not really. It's more so just because they're in the same thing, and that's Wraith. I feel like her character was not developed enough before we see her again. Like, all of a sudden, she's like decked out with a weapon, a uniform, and it's like, first, and Peter acts like he never heard of Wraith either, which is kind of strange. I feel like he would have heard of her by then for sure. But it's weird. It comes all of a sudden. I feel like we should have had like maybe a DLC or a game like Miles Morales where, you know, we would get to see the events leading up to this. You know, maybe it could have done something with like Silvermane or another crime boss, but no, we just really don't, and it's kind of weird. I feel like we should have gotten another game, which I would love to make not scripts, but like ideal plots for a full universe, kind of a redone universe of this universe, but I think that she definitely deserved some more stuff before we see her in this game, just because it feels so awkward, you know, like it just doesn't feel right that she's this skilled already. Like, we didn't even get, because we did, I feel like it's mostly due to us not seeing much of her. So maybe next time we get some more of her, that way we can, you know, make it make sense. It just feels basically like it's out of nowhere. Alright, the next criticism I have, and while we're on the topic of shit not making sense, let's talk about the spider arms. There's not much to say, other than, why? I mean, obviously it's there for gameplay reasons. I can understand that. But I'd be more forgiving if they didn't just pop out of nowhere. You know, like, I feel like there's no explanation to why he has them. Like, it's just like they're there. It's weird. It's like the same thing with the web wings, honestly. But at least the web wings make a little bit more sense. The spider arms really don't. So I wish there was like a better explanation for why they were there. They kind of just pop up out of nowhere. It's really weird. Like I really don't know what to say other than yeah, it just makes no sense. All right, the next criticism, probably the most talked about criticism of these games in general. MJ's list of stupid decisions, aka sneaking around in places where it doesn't even make sense. At least, like, in some places, it could make sense, but I feel like in most situations, it's like, why are you there? Like the abandoned zoo. That makes no sense. That part of that mission should have never happened. I'm just gonna be honest. That makes no sense. The fucking meteorite? Why? Why are we there? Why? At least the one with Peter, the symbiote controlling Peter, at least that makes sense. That has some level to it, but not the part where she goes into the tunnel. I'm talking about like the beginning part of that mission where she's kind of in the house, but like honestly, that's like the only part where MJ should have been playable, in my opinion. Was that small part where MJ was in Aunt May's house, trying to sneak away from the hunters. Other than that, don't know why she's playable. Honestly, don't know why. And honestly, this harkens back to Spider-Man 1, honestly, too. Like, there's probably a lot of missions where if I really thought about it, it makes no sense for her to be in those situations. But this one, they could have made better missions. I mean, okay, if most people have seen some of the cut content from this game, you would know that there was concept art of the Daily Bugle during like the symbiote invasion where MJ was in there. So there was supposed to be something there, and I feel like that mission would at least make maybe a little bit more sense, but we don't really get to see that mission because it got cut. But yeah, no, honestly, most of the missions that she's in this game just don't make sense. Alright, this next criticism is a little bit more of like a niche thing. Like, not like a big deal, but something that I personally feel should have been there. And it's to do with, honestly, the best mission in the game, the Peter versus Miles fight. I personally feel that the boss fight should have had more phases, but set up differently. And what I mean is, I feel like we should have seen Peter in his like mind kind of fighting the symbiote. So what I would mean is you would basically start with a phase where you fight Peter as Miles, and then you kind of like go inside of his head as Peter, and you see Peter also fighting the symbiote, and you'll play as regular Peter fighting symbiote Peter. And like in the background, you can hear like Miles kind of talking and trying to get Miles out of it, because I feel like Peter really doesn't do all that much to get out, or at least it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like Peter does much to get the symbiote off of him, so I feel like it would be more satisfying to have like that inner battle also playing out at the same time. And a good way to do that is to have, phases where you are playing as Peter against symbiote Peter in his head, and that would add so much, especially with the detail of hearing Miles in the background. I feel like that would make that mission so much better. You can even have Peter arguing against the symbiote, obviously, too. But I think that would honestly add a lot. I think that would add so much to it and would make the mission overall better. Not saying that the mission's bad. I'm just saying if they were to take it one step further, it would work even better if they did. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, just more of that self battle would have been really nice to see. Now, we're going to take a little break here. We're going to pump the brakes on the criticisms. Let's give a little bit of props to another mission that I really fucking love. And honestly, like in general, I think this little area of the game is probably the best part of the game. But just because of how good the missions are back to back. Miles versus Mr. Negative. I love that mission. That mission was so well done. And I mean, obviously it's kind of similar to like the Peter versus Miles mission, you know, but except it's a little bit of a different situation. But I love the way they did that mission. And if I'm being honest, throughout the whole game, I was like, Miles is not going to kill Martin Lee no matter what. Like obviously we knew he wasn't going to, but I like really knew he wasn't going to. Either way, I knew he was going to confront him, obviously, but I know that Miles would have realized not to do it. But like I like and honestly, it completes, in my opinion, like that like is pretty much most of Miles's arc done by that point, and it was really well done. And I like that he also has to, you know, basically kind of do the same thing, but except instead of doing it for himself, he helps Peter next. That also is kind of cool. But yeah, Peter or Miles versus Mr. Negative was really well done with the whole like going into his mind, you know, doing all that, and then you know Miles coming to his senses, and because like even a nice detail about that mission that you never actually see in the first game happen to Peter is that Miles actually gets like corrupted a little bit, like you could see it because he gets like his suit becomes like negative. Uh, yeah, it becomes negative, and then as you go through, and once you unlock the ability, it kind of just starts to fade away. The negative starts to fade away off of his suit, you know, and it's like really well done. Also, I love the just the fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say, but Martin Lee, he does have a good arc in this game. Unfortunately, because of the first game, I find it hard that anyone can actually forgive him for what he did. Like I feel like you would have to change the first game to make that make more sense because it really doesn't make any sense, unfortunately. But I really love that. I also love the line that Miles or not Miles, Mr. Negative gives to Peter. He reminds me of you. I love that line. That was such a good line to have because obviously by that point Mr. Negative figured out who Miles was. I want to know if Mr. Negative knew who Peter was for a while or not, or if it was because he went into Miles' head or something. Because obviously he knew before. He knew at that point, because he was talking about Peter, not Spider-Man, obviously. Like, obviously that line was directed towards Peter. So he must have had known at some point that Peter was Spider-Man. But, like, it's a really good line, and it really makes a lot of sense. I just feel like I feel like if they treated Martin Lee a little bit better in the first game, like maybe making Martin Lee target only Oscorp and not random civilians in the crossfire, I feel like Martin Lee would have been a way, like, would have had a way better chance to get redeemed, especially because most people hate Norman anyway. But yeah, love that mission. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent, but yeah, next thing. So the next criticism, a big criticism a lot of people have. We're not going to spend too much on it because there's not much to say other than the lack of Venom in the game. I mean, Tony Todd literally even said they didn't use like what 80 or 90% of his dialogue or something like that. So, unfortunately, that just kind of is gone down the drain. I would have loved to see more. I would have loved to see what they would have done with more of that dialogue. Obviously, they weren't going to use 100% of the dialogue he records. Obviously, that usually doesn't happen. But there's got to be at least like 60% of that they were going to use, you know? And I really do wonder what it would have been. But either way, lack of Venom, kind of bad. Alright, my next criticism here is that the city looks bad. There's no way to put it, but the city just looks bad. I'm not talking about like the up close details. I'm talking about like from like swinging, it looks too vibrant. Like the city does look too vibrant. It looks off compared to the first game in Miles Morales. It looks like a more like perfect city that has never been dirty. It basically almost doesn't look like New York. Like if you were to show someone a random image of like a random like part of New York that is not very known, and you were to ask, "Hey, what do you think this city is? Do you think this is a real based off a real city or not? And if so, which one?" I guarantee you most people would not even think that it was based off of a real city because it looks way too vibrant. I don't know why, it just looks way too vibrant. It doesn't look as dirty or, as like city like as the first game did. Miles Morales, it's kind of hard to get that because of the snow, but like at least the first game for sure nailed what New York looks like, but like this game just kind of backs it up a bit, honestly, because it's a little too vibrant. But yeah, overall, City looks not as good as the first game for sure. All right, the next criticism I have, and this is a big one for specifically just post game content, crimes. Boy, they downgraded. I think Miles Morales did crimes the best. You get to choose what crime. There's still like a thing you want to have to complete because there's like your challenges and all that, and you can finish it and get like 100. You get all the 3 challenges for the crimes. You get all the tokens and all that. Blah blah. This game doesn't do that. That's a big problem. Number one, yeah, like that's number one. Number two, the crimes are significantly babyfied, basically. Like they are babyfied. Let's be real, because like the car chases, it's one button tap. Why? Why did we do that? I'm not saying that the ones before were really that involved, but like that's like a significant change. That is that is a significant change. And the third one, and I know a lot of people talk about this, it's the symbiotes. Good God. The amount of crimes in post game with symbiotes, especially when it doesn't really make sense. Why? Why are we doing that? Don't know. Couldn't tell you. Now, I did have this thought one time, and I'm going to mention it here because I don't know where else I'm going to mention it. I did have this thought one time. What if they did a crime where it would be supervillain crimes, and basically one of the supervillains, obviously they can't fucking do this anymore because they basically killed every single one, but like let's say you take Scorpion for example. He breaks out, he shows up in a crime, and it's kind of like a one phase boss, like a one phase boss. You take him down, and it's nice. It adds variety, and you could have like a checklist, to get to do every single like supervillain crime, get like Scorpion, Electro, Rhino, Shocker. But no, they're all dead. Fools, jokes on me, I guess. Fuck me. That's a great idea for a crime. I understand why they didn't think about it for the first game or Miles, but hello, second game, we need to like kind of up our shit here a little bit. Like I feel like that would be a good way to do it. But oh well. Just the crimes are really bad in this game, though, in my opinion. Like honestly, you don't have to do them. Pretty much, like you could go through the whole game without doing them, and you will be perfectly fine. But yeah, the crimes need to be better. Now, these next topics, which there's 2 next topics, but we'll probably go into 3, is more about the future of this game series that I am completely worried about now. And there's 3 major problems: Silk, a potential Venom game, and Spider-Man 3. Let's start with Silk. Clearly, From what we've seen, now again, I don't think Insomniac is fully at fault for this game being shit. I think Sony is involved for sure. I mean, again, there's a common denominator when Spider-Man stuff starts to be shit, and most of the time it is Sony, and I'm surprised that people really don't, go after them, considering that usually they are the problem for Spider-Man. That, and also, I mean, literally, they kind of just, I mean, who else? Who else would do it? Who else would do it? Especially considering that Insomniac put a lot of attention into the first game. Not saying they wouldn't have made any mistakes or anything, but like, come on, let's be real. But Silk is a problem. They already struggled to have two characters, two Spider-Men, share the screen and have like. I'm not saying they were gonna always have equal time. Obviously, Peter would always have more time. I think anyone who wishes for them to have equal time is kind of weird. I think that no matter what, Peter was going to have more time because it is Peter's story. Like, like Venom is a Peter villain, not a Miles villain. Miles came after Peter. I'm pretty sure Miles doesn't even really have any of his like own villains. I mean, you could say the Spot, but like I really don't see it because again, he was there before even Miles. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like Silk, I don't really know how they're gonna do. Now again, we don't know if they're gonna do a Silk game, but like there's no way to develop. The worst part is this is not just like, oh, Silk is gonna be a spider character by that point. No, I'm scared that it's gonna be an origin. And doing an origin during a game where Green Goblin is going to be there is kind of going to make it even harder because you're going to have Peter. You're probably going to have Peter dealing with like Harry almost dying or in a coma. You're going to have him dealing with Green Goblin. You're going to have Miles. You're going to be, there's going to be Doc Ock. And now there's going to be potentially maybe Carnage if they don't make a Venom game, which I'm not even confident is going to happen at this point, which is another thing that I have a problem with. But it's like, right now, there is so much potential for this third game to be so convoluted. And I genuinely can't, like, if they don't make, like, 2 more spin-offs, I could see this third game tanking hard with how much shit it has. Now, another thing I want to talk about, which is just connected to this, a Venom game. Don't even know how they're going to do it. Don't know how they're gonna do it. Don't even know if it's gonna happen at this point. At this point, my fuck, what do I call it? What do you call it? Basically, the way I act about Spider-Man stuff is if there's no release date, assume it's not gonna release. Because I have been disappointed before. So just if there's no release date, don't expect it to release. And the Venom game so far is one of those things that I really can't see happening. One, the host. Is it going to be Harry? If so, I can see them doing a kind of cool thing where like Venom controls his body. But obviously, I'd say Harry should be anti-Venom after. So obviously that would leave with Eddie Brock. But he's not connected to the story, so we're kind of fucked there. We're kind of fucked there. And not to mention, Tony Todd obviously passed away, which is awful. So I don't know if they're gonna replace him or not, but it's kind of sad, and I don't really see them doing or being able to do a Venom game as easy now because of that. But I don't know what they're gonna plan on doing. And obviously, I just mentioned the other like problem I have with the future is Spider-Man 3 could be genuinely the most convoluted of the games if we don't get anything before it. Because if we don't get a Venom game, that means Carnage will probably be thrown into this game along with Wraith. If we don't get any Silk stuff, we're gonna have a Silk origin story probably during this game. I mean, Peter, Harry's in a coma, Green Goblin, Doc Ock. It's just going to be too much in the game that I really can't see it going well. It's unfortunate, but I really hope they think of something. Because if not, then we could get absolutely fucked. The DLC, I don't even think the DLC would have helped much, if I'm being honest. I don't think the DLC would have helped much, even though, yes, it did get canceled and probably would have had some stuff. Judging from what the DLC was going to be, honestly, I didn't expect it to really do much, because there's no way they're going to kill Carnage in a DLC, let's be real. So, yeah, no, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're planning, but I hope they figure out a way out of this, because right now, from what I see, the third game is probably going to be even worse than the second game. But, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Alright, so I have two more topics here. I'm going to split them up, but obviously, this next topic is basically how these games kind of show why modern gaming is bad, in one sense, that our world has changed dramatically. Because for this game to come out the way it is and have basically no stakes, in my opinion, like there was almost no stakes in this game. Let's be real. It's disappointing. It's disappointing how like safe of a sequel it was. Like it's genuinely sad because I wish that there was more done to make the game more intense. I feel like the game wasn't intense enough. There wasn't like enough challenge in like story like they didn't go through enough, in my opinion, for what should have been a Kraven game, a game with Kraven and Venom as the villains. Like those two being the villains and them not going through, like not them going through nearly as bad of stuff as the first game, is weird. It is really weird. Like like the amount of shit that happened in this game would make you think that in real life, that like maybe like 10,000 people would have died during this. Like it is weird that almost nobody died on screen. It is really weird, and I feel like this is one of the one of the bigger problems with modern gaming is they're too scared to show any kind of like any of that, basically. Like I'm not saying like that, like there are games nowadays that have been showing stuff like that, but like honestly, it's disappointing considering that the first game had so much death, so much like dark story telling moments, but this game just really doesn't have it. Like, this game is not nearly as dark as the first one, and I will fight anyone on that one. I will die on this hill that the first game will not only be the best in the series, but also the darkest. But yeah, moving on. So the last topic I want to talk about, and this is not a criticism, this is something that I would have personally wanted, and I don't know if many people would have wanted this, but I think once people hear this, I think they would have wanted, I think they would want it too. And that would be a sandbox mode, where you can place down any enemy you want and fight them. Kind of like Jedi Fallen Order. If you've ever seen that game, there's like a sandbox mode where you can place down enemies and fight them. I think there would be a cool idea. Especially because this game has the Mysteriums, and I think that would work really well with that. You know, because like you can go back in the post game, interact with the Mysterium, and then you can go into like a sandbox mode. And I feel like there would be two game modes I would love to see. The first one, which is the least interesting probably to most people, a chase sandbox mode where you have the full city, and you can place down as many vehicles as you want, and you have to chase them down throughout the city. So like there can be like 10 vehicles that you have to chase down. They won't despawn. They won't get away. You just have to kind of go and get them. I think it'd be cool as kind of like a test to see how fast you can do it, you know? I think it'd be really interesting. But the one that I feel like would be the most interesting is the enemy one, where you can place down any enemies you want from this game to the first game. Any enemy. Because, personally, I would love to fight every single boss at the same time. I'm crazy, but man, it would be cool. And I'm kind of sad that it doesn't exist. because honestly, I would be the first. I would literally be like, first time I get to that point, I would immediately be like, oh yeah, I'm fighting all the main villains. I'm fighting all the bosses. All the bosses? Hell yes. And then probably eventually every single enemy ever to exist. I would do that at some point. Like, but obviously they don't have that, and it's really sad because I would have wanted that. It's not like a big thing that oh they should have had it, but it's like it would have been cool if they did. But I have no problems. I have no problems with it. There's nothing wrong with them not having it, but it would have been cool. Anyway, moving on. So that was the last video in this 3-part Spider-Man 2 series of the criticisms I have and some props that I have to give to the games because the games did good in some things, the games did bad in some things. But I do want to end this with saying that yes, I'm criticizing these games, but it comes from passion. I still love these games no matter what. I love these games no matter what. But I can't sit here and deny that these games have, well, at least anything after the first game, have a lot of problems. I can't sit here and just say, oh yeah, these are the most perfect game. This is like the perfect game series ever made. No, it's not. It's really not. But I do love the games no matter what. I think I always will love them no matter what. I think even when the third game comes out, I'll love it, even if it's, you know, not good. But I think I'll still love it. And, fuck. What else was I gonna say? Because I was gonna say something else. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if I can think about it. Just give me a few seconds. Oh yeah. I did want to mention, I do have another one of these videos at some point going to happen. I haven't recorded it yet, but I have the ideas, and I do want to do a video like this. I probably mentioned it before, but for Miles Morales and the DLC, they'll be combined into one video, so it's not going to be like a DLC and then a Miles Morales video. They're all going to be combined into one because I don't see that those two things having as much problems as this game did. I think this game had the most problems, but yeah, another video. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.